So I'm going to do a quick overview in Ruth chapter 2. Ruth chapter 2 is lovely and beautiful, and I'd really recommend to read through the book of Ruth or listen through it on a Bible app like YouVersion. That's quite a good one. And the real flavour of Ruth chapter 2 is how the Lord begins to draw Ruth into this great purpose that he has for her life. But she, of course, doesn't know that. And what happens is she begins to glean in the field which is owned by Boaz, and Boaz notices her and just recognises that he just wants to give her perhaps an extra bit of flavour, of not flavour but favour, a little bit of extra support and help. And we would say in English, certainly he really appears to have a soft spot for her, certainly there's a compassion and a care that awakens in his heart. And so I feel that's such a picture of God's grace for us. God's mercy as he brings us into his field, as it were, into the boundary of his love. We just taste something on the edge of it. And then Jesus is so much like Boaz. He says, do you want to come up to the table and share some of the food? And actually Ruth is given this sort of, invited to the table. She doesn't deserve it at all. It's not like she's, normally would be accepted. And she has her fill and she has some left over. And he says, have water whenever you need it as well. And I've told my men not to give you a hard time. And I don't mind if you kind of start gleaning around near the sheaves. And he says to the guys running the harvest, and pull out a few extra bits for her, just drop them around, make it a little bit easier, go over and above. And I think that's such a picture of how God draws us from being on the very, very edge. We just need to come just inside the boundaries of God's love, and he says, come a bit closer. Come and eat my table. There's enough for you. Come and drink. We are hungry and thirsty. Let me draw you to myself with loving kindness, and let me let you share in the whole inheritance that I have for you, the promises. That here's this outsider, this alien, and Boaz is saying, well, basically, come in and take part in being one of the people of Israel. Here's some extra for you to be included. So I just want to pray that we would experience that if you feel like on the edge of God's grace and maybe you feel like you're still an outsider, step into the boundary, within the boundary of God's love, and allow him to touch your life. And I just pray that those who might feel a bit on the edge right now would get drawn closer and closer and share in what God has, share in what Jesus offers at the table, share in what he has to bring you into your life to feed and water you for his he's the manna. Bethlehem is a house of bread, and he's the manna. He's the bread from heaven. He's the living water, and you can share in the promises of God. So that's my prayer for you today.